Welcome to the Audio Description Network Alliance. Today we're very happy to have a bonus episode today with Joan Baker. She is a voiceover connoisseur, and that is just such a limiting title. There's a 16-page bio that you can find. And also Rudy Gaskins, he's the chairman and CEO of Sovos, the Society of Voice Arts and Sciences, and also an Emmy Award-winning TV producer. Thank you so much for joining us, Joan and Judy. This is so exciting.
You just called me Judy.
Okay. Oh, that was
so people have done that, Joan.
We could have kept it in.
Oh, we should have. I'm going to do it again. And also an Emmy Award-winning TV producer. Thanks for joining us, Joan and Judy. Thanks for joining us, Joan and Rudy.
There we go. I worked in an office for a while with a woman named Judy.
Did you?
Every time Judy's name was called, I was jumping up, and every time Rudy's name was called, she was jumping up.
Seriously?
That's so great.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You remember Judy Halan?
That's good.
So Roy, your intuition is right on.
We're so on speed for Joan and Rudy now.
I love watching people work.
Well, let's jump in because this year, particularly, the Society of Voice Arts and Sciences is offering not one, not two, but 3 categories for audio description. And let's start by talking about the 3 categories, and then we'll get into some of the opportunities for submitting.
Well, okay, I'll start. We're really riding the coattails of the experts. And we've been talking with you, Roy. You've been extraordinarily helpful, and a couple of other peoples like Joel Snyder and Michelle Spitz and Stephanie McCoy. Between the 4 of you, we've been piecing together what there is to understand about audio description. And so we're fledglings at this game. But the 3 categories we came up with came from those conversations, and they are audio description for TV and film, audio description for live productions like theater, and audio descriptions for cultural sites and museums. And it's interesting how different these 3 categories are in terms of what's required for the describer, the narrator, and the writers and the producers. So it's an exciting field because we just weren't really aware of it. With all the detail and all the other different genres and voice acting, all of a sudden, we open up this door and find there's an entire world of activity and creativity and talent going on. So we just got super excited just by that alone.
And I have to add that how I became aware of it, and I let Rudy know, was that there was a blind woman in our complex that had me walk her and her dog to her apartment. There's like 3 towers where we live, and she lived in the furthest one. So I was walking with her, and she asked me what I did, and I told her, and she said, "Oh, have you ever heard of audio description?" I said, "No." This was probably in 2019. And she described it to me in such vivid details that I was, first of all, I was dumbfounded. I hadn't even heard of it, but also her incredible reliance on it. And she said to me, the last thing she said to me before she went into her apartment was, she said, "I don't know what I would do without audio description in my life." So that really hit me. And I went and told Rudy about it. And then we started, like as a coincidence, we got a note from you, and we got a note from other people in audio description that Rudy named. But it was kind of a coincidence in how it kind of unraveled before us. We had no choice but to dive in, because this would be a total missing in the voiceover, spectrum. This would be a total missing if audio description wasn't a big part of it.
Yeah, it sounds like that.
No, I'm just concurring. Absolutely. It would be missing.
Yeah.
And the impact it has on the blind and low vision community. And also, it's an incredible genre in general. Like Rudy and I, we started watching movies in audio description, and it's just absolutely beautiful. It reminded me of doing theater and someone reading the theater, the descriptions that you get in scripts where they describe what the kitchen table or the kitchen area is, and then how the characters come in and how they're dressed and their mood and their attitude. It reminded me of that. But there's something absolutely beautiful in audio description that I haven't seen in other genres. Absolutely makes your heart melt.
Another thing that's really fascinating about it is when I'm assuming this across the board for sighted people, if you're watching a movie or a program and using audio description, and you close your eyes so that you can see what it would be like for someone who has no sight, you actually realize how difficult it is to pick up that information. It's flying by very quickly. Hearing in descriptive terms like that is almost like another language when you have nothing else to rely on but that. And your brain has to work hard to decipher what's going on and to create the pictures and make the connections. And in my mind, you can't possibly make all of them, but I guess you make enough of them with practice that you can really engage with the program and enjoy it. And that, of course, also depends on how talented the narrator is and the writers and the producers.
The writing, I think, is really critical, because I know, thinking, like when I'm listening to it, I'm wondering how they're going to describe something that in a way is not describable. You have to see it, and yet they do, and they get to the meat of it. And it's just, it really does open up images and pictures and symbols in your mind. The great writing and audio description.
And when it misses, sometimes it really misses, in my opinion, my humble opinion. And you really do kind of feel cheated, especially if you're sighted and you can see, wait a minute, there was an opportunity to do that much better than it was done. And then you want to start doing some quality control.
One of the things I'm hearing from both of you is that, this audio description has been around for 30 plus years or so. And now that as the culture is being able to grow, as the technology is able to grow, specifically with technology, that of course Sovos is going to be involved in it. And I'm curious about two things that really came up is, first of all, in your experience, Joan, with your neighbor, that connection that she was able to share with you of being a part of the conversation, that kind of inclusion, I'm assuming, and this is my own personal opinion, that it does extend into the immersion of the story, that when it comes to those roles of audio description, whether it's the writing, you mentioned obviously the voice talents, because that's definitely your focus. There's the quality control, there's the engineering, how, fiddling with the volume up and down, or making sure that it's that immersive experience, that immersion, as opposed to Rudy's word, decipher, trying to figure out what's happening, that when it is that immersive experience, that we are now pivoting from just, hey, it has audio description, just this kind of binary yes or no, to celebrating how great audio description is.
Absolutely.
So these values are changing.
Absolutely. And what I also love about it too, Roy, that you were just saying, is that it's very inclusive. The experience, like I was able to talk to this woman about it, and also her passion around it. And her passion around and her love around being able to really go to the movies, watch television, no problem. It's something that filled her. And the beauty of audio description, she couldn't live without it in her life. And that just really got to me. So it's also the inclusive aspect of audio description that I think makes it profound.
Oh, that's great. Let's and if we could pivot back to Rudy, when you were saying about your experience, your opinion of your experience of being cheated, that what I'm hearing is that Sovos celebrates not being cheated, specifically when it comes to voice talents, that you are celebrating the best of the best, that this kind of beauty that Joan mentioned, that experience, there's no way to have a consistent experience, but at least have it to be in parity, in the experience as the sighted person, and trying to celebrate that. Could you talk a little bit about,
and that that in voice acting, as in other arts, that you are pursuing excellence at all times. You're looking for ways to make the work workable, to make it engaging, to make sure that it achieves its objectives, completely, not just enough, but fully. And then beyond that, there's that's what gives our mission purpose, is the pursuit of excellence. And it's not excellence to be better than anyone else or to be the best. It's excellence to be each person's best.
That's right. Including both Rudy and I mean, we work very hard at Sovos. It literally takes, it's basically 24/7 work. But Rudy and I also work on ourselves, and that's an important part of our life, as well as our craft. So we're constantly peeling back the onion layer as well as imagine all the conversations we've had, especially, I wrote a book called Secrets of Voiceover Success. I've been in conversations with people since 2004, deep conversations, I mean, about the business, about the craft, about how people approach it, how they work, the works since 2004, in-depth conversation. So it's also been an extraordinary experience connecting to people, their hearts, their passion, how their minds have expanded through the voice arts industry and through the voice arts craft. And it's like numerous connections and conversations with people that also is incredibly uplifting, but also it sprinkles a different layer on learning the craft and being a part of the craft that I had no idea that I would ever be involved with. When I first got into voiceover, I came from theater and I came from dance. I had also been acting, a childhood actor. So I had already been immersed in the craft for a very long time. But stumbling into voiceover as I did, it opened up so many doors in my mind and in my heart in terms of what I needed to do to pursue excellence within myself and to share that with others. Really did become a mission, whether it was conscious or unconscious.
Let's talk a little bit about that opening doors. One of the things that I'm really excited about within the world of audio description is how it is modeling inclusivity of disabled talents, in the sense that not just blind voice talents, but also blind advisors, blind quality control, blind writers. There is a sense of inclusion of performers with disabilities. I know specifically Sovos, within your invitations for audio description, that you made sure to include judges who are blind, who are going to have the experience to be able to give this the fair shake that it needs. It seems like
Right.
that opening doors is beyond just, hey, this is great for audiences,
Performers,
also
yeah,
for
behind the scenes.
Yeah, the inclusion piece is critical. It's amazing to me, the more we investigate inclusion, the more we
Yeah.
seek to embrace it, the more we recognize how many people are not being included in so many different ways.
Yes.
And whether it's race and equality, or whether it's disabilities and accessibility to the world in a myriad of ways, there's so much to do in that camp, and there's so many changes to make in order to really include people. And there's a lot of lines of discussion to be had where, for example, with audio description, you hear some folks who are blind or low vision asking for producers to think about scripting their works so that it already includes audio description at the outset. And clearly, that would be a tremendous disruption to people who are used to seeing stories flow in real time. So there's that. That's a wonderful conversation. What can you do there? To what degree can you make a change there so that more people can be included? And that's just talking about blind and low vision people. There are other people who have difficulty accessing media for other reasons. And so the conversation only broadens out from there. But once you start talking about including anybody, you got to talk about including everybody.
Yes. Yes, Rudy Gaskins. Yes.
And how great that is going to celebrate, Joan, your experience in the pivoting from, in the pivoting to your voice experience, your voiceover experience, that you said it opened so many doors, that these opportunities are now being extended to so many more people. And let's dive in a little bit to the categories specifically. So if there is let's start with a voice talent who has worked on a TV show or a movie that's interested in submitting to the Sovos for this nomination. It's we've missed the early bird deadline, but there still is time to submit.
Oh, yeah.
For the category, and there's a website that we're happy to share. There's also What's the experience like? How does someone submit? Can you go through maybe some of the
Ah,
steps?
It's a fairly straightforward process. So when you first go onto the uh, submission portal, so you go to sovos.org and you click Enter 2021 Awards, and you will arrive at the portal where you register, name, email address, that kind of thing, basics, just to get yourself registered. And then you would select the category, the overall category, uh, based on your classification: voice actor, producer, casting director. So you select voice actor, for example, and that's going to take you to a series of categories. And you're going to select audio description. And from there, you're going to see the 3 categories that are available for audio description. And you choose the one that you have an interest in. And then it just basically walks you through the process from there in terms of upload your file, upload the name of the person who would be considered the winner, if should you be a nominee or winner, upload any names of credits that are to be attached to the work, the title of the work itself, and then you make your payment. If you have a code like Bold Blind Beauty,
whoa,
if you had a discount code like that, Bold Blind Beauty, all one word, then you would get a discount on your entries of 30%, in fact. So it's a huge discount. And typically we have a 90, a year and a half eligibility period for the work, meaning the work has to have been created within a year and a half, with that year ending on June 30th of the current year. That we extended to 2.5 years, because we recognize that a lot of folks in the world of audio description probably haven't had the opportunity to submit for awards and don't have their works available to them easily, and need a broader spectrum of work to be able to choose from. We've also noticed that some folks are having difficulties finding the work or obtaining the work from the producers where they had it made. And so this is kind of new for everybody, so that they, with doing a promo or a commercial, you can ask the producer right there. You're in the room with them, or you're on the phone with them, in a session, and you can say, hey, when will this be ready? When would I have an opportunity to get the file? And it's top of mind. When you go to someone 6 months later, a year later, and ask for it, dude, I've worked on 100 other projects. That thing's in the archive somewhere. We don't have any interns to go digging it up. And then, what about rights issues? Even if I could dig it up, can I even give that to you for you to go use in an award show? So there are conversations to be had with the producers and the distributors of these works. And I'm sure those folks will be happy to do it once they fully understand what it's for, and that it actually supports what they're doing. It's a feather in the cap of any distributor who has taken the time and the care to provide audio description. And it's a promotion for what they do in terms of the work itself. When it's submitted and it wins, well, that film or production of theater or cultural narration for an exhibit becomes that much more known to the public.
But also, by the way, I mean, production companies submit for awards all the time. I mean, they've been doing that for decades. So a lot of the production companies don't even question, oh, you're going to submit into awards. They'll be happy to give it to you. Also, we're in the business of advertising and promotion, whether we're on voiceover or on the other side. Basically, everything we're doing is about promotion. So it's truly understood. It's universally understood. It's actually sometimes harder to get work to put on a demo reel than it is to submit into an award show. But it's true what Rudy's saying. You have to approach people, immediately after the work, because they usually go on to other things and they're stop worrying about that project and they're now thinking about another. So in general, whether you're even getting it for a demo reel or to submit in the awards, you want to do it as soon as you can.
And if you have a rapport with that person,
better.
or your agent has a rapport with that person, you can ask about it prior to doing the job. Hey, when we finish this wonderful piece of work, will it be possible for me to get a copy in the following format? Because for one, I need this kind of thing to demonstrate my capability. And so it's good for that, but I'd also like to consider submitting it in awards programs, and getting all of that handled up front will make it that much easier, because now it's on the mind of the producer.
Oh, thank you for that.
And when we first started Sovos, by the way, the Voice Arts Awards, our mentor was a mogul, or is a mogul at the Emmys. So the Voice Arts Awards is modeled like the Emmy Awards. So we got to learn a lot from our mentor about awards and about the awards platform in general. And so we were able to create the Voice Arts Awards with the Emmys as our model. I mean, literally.
Yeah.
So it's a very intricate and powerful process. So
yeah, it is very intricate. I mean, just from the
it is
tech side, in terms of coding out an awards platform where you have 110 categories and multiple entries in each. And right now we're up to 200 jurors. All of these people have to go into this process.
right.
And it's an expensive process also. But once you get it up and running, at least you have the hard work done. But managing it is complex.
Can only
Mhm.
imagine.
We're fortunate that we had Steve Ulrich, who Joan's referring to from the Emmys, to guide us, because we were hit with a lot of questions, a lot of people who were skeptical about what it was and how it works, and who gets paid, and why do you pay to make an entry, and what good is entering something if you're nominating yourself?
But you're
And,
not.
There was all of this kind of confusion. And no one asked those questions about the Emmys, because
Yeah, right.
it's been around for a million years, and we get it. We just trust it without knowing those answers. We trust
That's
it.
right.
And but it was having the backbone of the Emmys as a model
Mhm.
that let us know we're doing this thing the right way. And it's just a matter of helping folks understand how it works.
And there's still grassroots like we're doing right now, Roy.
Like this, exactly, yes. If we could go back, I got two follow-up questions, if I could. You had said or alluded to that submissions don't have to be from the actual voice talent itself. Can anyone submit?
Yeah, anyone can submit. I mean, it could be your talent agent could submit you. The submitter is really just a function of who's going to jump on the platform. So in some cases with companies, it's someone's assistant who does it,
Right.
and they do it for all of the talent. But in that particular company, say it's an audiobook company publisher, and they've got 30 books they want to submit. So they have an assistant submit all these books for the different authors, the different narrators, and then depending on the category, it could be the producer or audio engineer being submitted.
Right.
So
There's also companies that get hired from television networks to choose the different awards shows to submit work as well, and they'll do the submissions as well. So it's definitely a well-oiled machine from the background in terms of production companies, television networks. All of them know the ropes when it comes to submissions. It's just the individuals that seem to, they just don't quite know the language. Like some people will ask us, how do I nominate myself? But you're not nominating yourself. You're submitting your work for consideration, right? And if that garners a nomination, great, but it's because judges have scored the work amongst other people's work in the same category. So then after that, if you get a nomination, great. Yeah, because people think they're nominating themselves and that they're spending money to nominate themselves. You are submitting work to be considered, and the amount that it costs to do that has to go to people behind the scenes that are organizing the submissions. Just like if I was going to go to a university or college, I have to pay a fee to submit to go to the college, right? I have to submit the work. That doesn't mean that I get to go to Carnegie Hall or Carnegie Mellon or Juilliard, but I did submit my work as I did in other universities, right? And then
Another big
sometimes,
question is, why do I have to pay?
yeah,
And to which I'd really like to answer, why don't I go to the coders, to the computer coders, the programmers, and say, why do I have to pay you guys to build a website that will accept thousands of entries
true.
and aggregate them for judges? Why do I have to pay for that?
It's
Or
work.
walking into the grocery store and saying, wait, why do I have to pay for the fruit? I get paying for the vegetables, everything costs. You know, it's a business model. And for some reason, some people kind of forget that and they separate that out into no man's land and just kind of assume, why shouldn't this be free? Sovos, we want people to understand, is a nonprofit organization. We are a charity, a 501c3. So one, people should understand, we don't end the year with a huge profit and bonuses in the bank that we invest in other projects.
Or in
Everything
us.
must go back into the company. In fact,
Right.
with a nonprofit, no one owns the nonprofit. We're not owners. We're fiduciaries. Our job is to run it, but we don't own it. So we don't make a profit for ourselves.
No.
We get a salary to do our jobs, and that's the end of that. And there are offices, and the lights have to be kept on, and the work must continue. So there's a reason that there's a cost, and it's built into a nonprofit-based model, so that we can essentially keep the lights on.
This is not an award that you get in a garage that's been there for 20, for years, gathering cobwebs. I mean, every award is handmade. This is a footprint that Rudy and I wanted to create. We wanted to create something lasting that could last for generations and generations. So we invested all our money into these companies that we partner with now. But yeah, the award itself, you kind of have to even be a sumo wrestler to even pick it up, right?
It's a beautiful award.
It's
we worked with the
extraordinary.
same designers who did the Oscars and the
Right.
Emmys
That's
to
right.
design the award. We
That's
came
right.
up with the concept. We drew pictures, and because we needed them to really understand the world of voice acting and what is sort of some of the key symbolism there. Because otherwise, they would have just come up with a mold of a microphone.
Right, or whatever.
And said, here you go, a beautiful gold microphone. Well, that's not really speaking to the voice actor.
No, a lot went into the design, but also in creating the mold. That's where Rudy and I have to make the investment. But
yeah,
it's an extraordinary keepsake that I tell you will be passed on in your family for generations and generations. But that's the way Rudy and I wanted it. We did not want just to have an award that you could get out of a garage somewhere that had been in storage.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But something special.
Yeah, and it sounds like you really are honoring that special uniqueness that Sovos brings.
Yeah, this is a legacy play,
yeah,
so to speak, and it's meant to go on and beyond us.
Yes, beyond Rudy and I, exactly.
Well, let's take it back to one more question that has come up specifically within those submissions for consideration. That you mentioned that there's a file to upload. Are there any requirements, for example, a time minimum limit, a maximum limit, a format? Does it have to be video? Does it have to be audio? Those sorts of things. Is there anything that someone who is submitting might be able to anticipate when it comes to that upload button?
On the audio description side, there is one thing to consider, because someone just reached out to me recently and said that they had the audio description, but they didn't have the video to go with it. And I said, well, that's fine, because if you're blind, you wouldn't see the video anyway if you're completely blind. So that has to be judged accordingly. But the site was set up to only accept video, audio video. So I told that person, and anyone who has that question, just convert your MP3 file to an MP4 file, and then the site will accept it.
So that's important to know. That's a great note to know.
Other than that, I mean, there may be people out there who want to submit in other categories. Each category does indicate what kind of file is accepted, and the maximum length of that file, and the maximum size of that file. so that information is available to you as you submit.
Wonderful. Where do you both see audio description categories for Sovos going in the future? Can you talk about that? If it's not privileged information, like what's your take on
No,
that?
it's not privileged. Right now, the focus is on the narrators for the most part. The way the categories are set up, it's really set up for, it's really focused on them.
For now,
And
right.
so we want to open it up to the
Writers,
writers and the
right,
producers.
and the producers and the production companies, right.
Yeah. So that would be the next stage. I mean, this is our first time out. It will take some time to really get the word out.
Right.
And you have to sort of hammer it to some degree before people hear you and recognize, okay, it's a thing. And it's here again. It's consistent. Okay, I'm ready to believe it's real and give it a shot. That could take a few years. And we have to find channels to talk to the people at the top, the buyers, the production companies, and have them understand that this exists for them as well. And there's value in their embracing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's work. It's sort of like, sometimes I feel like a politician who has to go door to door and has to shake hands and kiss babies.
And kiss babies.
It's like one person at a time.
And it really
seems impossible. You want to be able to just put out a promotional message that reaches everyone. But life isn't like that. And put out all the promotional messages you want. But unless you're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars targeting very, very specifically and get things on people's desks and into their email boxes, you're going to have a hard road to hoe.
Yeah. And that's what Rudy and I've been doing since the Voice Arts Awards 2014. Literally grassroots. Shaking hands and kissing babies all the way.
Yeah, every time someone says to me, you should really promote more. I've met some people who haven't heard of Sovos. And I think that's kind of deflating on one side, but coming from marketing, I know how much work it takes to get the word out. There are people out there who haven't heard of a lot of things that are very popular. We'll see. I'm sure there's some folks who haven't heard of Tesla. Or they think Tesla is a rocket ship. They don't know that, it's a car? I thought the guy flew rockets.
Right.
Messaging.
Yes, Roy.
It's so great to hear about your approach with the Audio Description Network Alliance. We started with voice talents and grew to include other aspects of the roles, and that was strategic. That was deliberate.
Yes.
It's like we knew how to identify, this is the voice that we hear, but we also wanted to separate it and let people know this isn't just a one-person show, that there are, as you had said, the writers. And I was clapping like really loud on mute when you were saying about including more categories in the future. So this is really
definitely exciting. But we always start, minimum, because like we were saying, we have to build at grassroots. It just doesn't automatically happen.
Yeah, you wind up with, 2 people submitting in a category, which has happened. And those categories do better now. But you had to start somewhere. So the more people we can get involved, the faster it grows, the more we can improve and get feedback from people.
Yep. And it's also a financial investment every time we create a category too. So we definitely want to make it worth its while.
Yeah, it's not like you would just write it down and it's done.
Right. No, it takes something. And we believe in audio description, so.
Rudy, if I could wrap up a question for you, and then I'll ask Joan. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience?
I would just like to say I greatly appreciate the conversation about accessibility for all disabilities, and especially with audio description with blind and low vision people, because we are deeply invested in that, in the creation of these categories. And we appreciate you. We hear you. We're listening, and we hope you will support our support for you.
Yeah. Oh boy, that's definitely it. Also, just coming from the artistic angle, that we really honor the artistic excellence of voice acting on all genres. And we really have and want to extend our platform to the audio description world so that you can interact and meet other people in the voiceover world and also shine and also teach us and other genres in the voiceover world what you do, who you are, and the heart you bring to your work. And we are absolutely honored to include you on our platform to shine.
Thank you both.
Thank you,
How
Red.
can people follow you, social media, reach out to you, follow what's happening?
Well, on LinkedIn, you can find Society of Voice Arts and Sciences, the company, and we do, provide information there. You can also find Society of Voice Arts as Sovos Voice on Instagram. We're on Facebook, the Society of
And
Voice Arts and Sciences.
We're on Twitter, and Twitter is at Sovos Voice is Society of Voice Arts and Sciences, and at Voice Arts Awards, and at That's Voiceover. By the way, audio description, Roy is going to be in That's Voiceover on Sunday, November 21st. He's going to be in Atomic VO Coaching representing audio description.
Yeah, joining with Colleen Connor too.
That's right. That's right. And we also have an audio description panel as well within the pantheon of panels. So we will be representing audio description at That's Voiceover, and truly thrilled about that. Truly thrilled.
Yeah, glad you mentioned that. Almost missed that.
And That's Voiceover is 3 days. It's November 19th, 20th, and 21st. It's online this year. And we have just an array of different opportunities, activities, and panels and discussions. And bringing on the audio description genre is just, again, a thrill and a joy. And we are so honored to do that.
Yeah, and for all of those who are doing audio description and interested in other genres, this is the place to learn about many other genres in voice acting from pros and peers
And
across the board.
pros, yeah.
So
exactly.
that happens November 19th through the 21st. And again, you can go to sovos.org, and under the events tab, you will find That's Voiceover. And like Joan mentioned, it's strictly online. One of the great things about it is you wind up with like 20 hours of material that you can go through. You'll be able to, as a ticket holder, keep all of those hours for 90 days. Be able to
study.
You'll be able to access it for 90 days on demand. So once you have the ticket, you also have the all 3 days available to you for 90 days on demand to watch at your leisure, at your pace, take notes, etc.
Wonderful.
So bam, ba bam, boom, boom, boom.
Ouch, got it. So much going on. Thank you both so much for joining us again.
Roy,
this is Joan
thank you.
Baker
First of all,
Rudy
Roy,
Gaskins.
thank you so much for who you are and what you bring to the AD industry and community. It is absolutely extraordinary who you are and what you bring.
Yeah.
And the light that you shine. We
Absolutely.
have already learned a lot from you personally. And we can't thank you enough.
Even with the wonderful blind lady who lives in Tower 2 that Joan met, and a couple of other people who've mentioned AD by and by, you were the first person to reach out to us and put it on the table and beg the question, hey, what about this? And what do you really know about this? And what can you do? So we thank you for bringing it to our attention in such a big way,
a powerful way,
a meaningful way,
and taking a stand for audio description.
And it just goes to show, and I've said to people, I've actually used you as an example, Roy, that someone picked up a phone and made a phone call, and this is the domino effect.
Yes.
So when you're thinking, well, what can I do? I'm just one person, and I'm going to reach out to an international organization and say, hey, what are you doing about this?
You made a difference.
There's the lesson.
One of my favorite
Yeah.
parts about this conversation is it wasn't just that one phone call. It was your and Joan's investment in continuing to make sure that this access was accessible, that in all the phone calls that we've had, that you've really shown an interest in making sure that your content had audio description that was video, that you included alt text, that you made sure that blind people were included in this process from the very beginning. And that was something that was really important, that as a sighted person, that we make sure that
Mm-hmm.
audio description was created by blind people for blind people
Mm-hmm.
and that they need to be included. And you embrace that and you've been very vocal about that. And that is something that is easy for me to say. Look at how Sovos has learned about accessibility specifically to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
disabled talents are included in this work. So right back at you both.
Thank you, Roy. Really.
This is great. I think this is like we just had a wonderful conversation. We've talked earlier offline about coffee and celery juice. This was the celery juice coffee of the day, as far as I'm concerned.
It's a fad now. I mean, sometimes the stores run out of celery.
I wouldn't call
It's
it a
like-
fad, Rudy. It may be a trend.
Yeah, okay, I'll go for that. Yeah, it's a trend.
Language
Maybe-
means something,
It may
doesn't
be
it?
here to stay. But whoever heard of you?
Right,
Whoever heard of you run out of
right.
celery? But when you're going to the store and you're buying, 15 and 20.